Obviously the big news this week was that your baseball coach, Steve Rodriguez, has resigned and stepped away from the program after 7 seasons here in Waco. Always a difficult time to make a staff transition. What kind of all went into this for the baseball program?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to Steve. He did a great job leading the program for 7 years, and we had some success early when you think about the 3 straight regionals, and then just toward the end, more difficult. I think COVID certainly played a part of that in 20, and then 21 just missed out, and then this year just a hard year. And I think it was a hard year for Steve personally, and for the staff. And so we'll now embark upon a national search and go and try to find the next head coach for baseball. And we've met at least initially, and I reminded everybody that we're hiring more than just a baseball coach. It's not just a baseball coach that we're hiring. We're hiring a leader of young men, and somebody that's going to have great passion and energy, and pour into our student athletes and in all ways, and challenge them to be great in everything. And we want baseball. Like our other sport programs, we want it to compete at a level where we're nationally relevant, and that we're consistent, that we're able to do that year in and year out. And so we're excited about the opportunity to go find that right person. And you've heard me speak about it before, Paul. It's searches are journeys, and this won't be unlike any other search. It'll be a journey. There's certainly a lot of great candidates out there, and just early on, I think people nationally look at this as a really, really good baseball coach. And we've got great history here, great tradition, and we want to be able to build on that foundationally, and compete for conference championships, and play in regionals and super regionals, and make it to the College World Series.
Max, since you arrived a few years ago, you've hired a bunch of different coaches. I mean, a couple in football alone, a women's basketball coach, cross country, men's tennis. I mean, could go on and on. This will be your first baseball hire here in Waco. How unique is the baseball job in comparison to, let's say, hiring a football coach because of the scholarship situation and what all goes into that as a private school, but also the fact that, baseball rules could be changing somewhat. Is there a separate uniqueness to hiring a baseball coach versus maybe some of the others?
Yeah, Craig, that's a great question. And with baseball, you have 11.7 scholarships, right, to spread over your entire roster of 35, and so it's hard, particularly when you're at a private institution and your tuition is higher, and total scholarship, total cost of attending is higher. And we're working on some ways to help with that. I think, what we're going to do with Alston and some other things, but it's a challenge. It's a uniqueness. But I would say that, when you think about just the state of Texas, and I think you could say this about maybe all sports, but it is a talent-rich state when we think of baseball. And I certainly believe there's more than enough prospective student athletes in the state of Texas, and that we'll hire somebody that has an understanding of that, and we'll be able to navigate that, and even maybe despite the scholarship challenge, be able to find a way to do that. And what I don't want to happen is that becomes an excuse for anybody to not recruit at the highest level. And I want to be clear. Steve never used that as an excuse, but we've got some uniqueness here, as everybody knows, and in terms of our Christian mission, our culture, the way we do it, and somebody that really knows and understands and appreciates and embraces that. And you spoke to it a little bit, but is there a day and time coming soon where the NCAA deregulates and potentially goes in a route where there's no equivalency sports or equivalency scholarships, that now all of a sudden it's permissive to provide full scholarships? There'll be a roster limit, but for example, roster limit 35, but you can give up to 30 full scholarships. And so, that's something that can potentially be on the horizon. And, Baylor will figure it out and find a way to navigate that and be able again to be nationally relevant in baseball. I've looked at video, and I've seen this. I've seen the ballpark where it's packed and signs and just high energy and all of that. And that's we want to be able to see that again. And I think Baylor baseball, there's a specialness to it, to our athletics program. Again, I mentioned great history, and we need to build upon that, and again, compete and play in regionals consistently, make it to super regionals, and then hopefully to College World Series.
Mack, a couple questions on the timeline right now. Obviously, it's the postseason for college baseball, and I would assume, even though you're not going to tell us any of the candidates and who they might be, that they would be participating in that right now. So when do you hope to have the search wrapped up by?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And, Paul, I was ready to give you the list of candidates and name one by one. Now that you've said that, I won't, because you weren't. So, but yeah, it's fluid. Obviously, there's candidates that are competing, and there's some that are not. And so, again, waiting through, what does it look like at the end of this weekend, and so we'll have a better sense of timeline. That doesn't mean that we haven't started. We have. We think we're in a really, really good place when we think about names and candidates and who we want to talk to, and doesn't mean that we won't get started. At some point in time this weekend. We've got that magical date of July 1 in the transfer portal, and for spring sports, you've got to be in the transfer portal by July 1 to be able to transfer and not sit out a year. And so we're cognizant of that. There's certainly some urgency to this, because I think uncertainty is really, really hard, and particularly on our student athletes, but we're not going to compromise quality and making sure we find the right person. And so If that right person, or we believe strongly that that right person is, somebody and their team continues to advance, then we'll have to manage and navigate that. So I haven't asked or I haven't answered your question. Typically these searches, have taken 10 to 14 days. This one's a little bit different, or could be a little bit different, just because we're right in the thick of it with NCAAs and baseball. So we'll see where this lands.
Will facilities upgrades to baseball be any kind of part of it? Because you guys obviously willing to dive in facilities on everything, but baseball would seem to be one of the next things up down the line. Do you expect that to be something that would be kind of mentioned or brought up to any of the candidates, that like it is in the future of upgrading facilities where you would need them?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. We started talking about it 2 or 3 years ago, and we've been able to do some smaller projects, whether it's upgrades to the locker room or pitching lab, and some of those things. And so we've always tried to have at least some projects going on in terms of baseball. Bigger things, whether that's a new clubhouse, et cetera. Those are things that we have talked about. Obviously, we've been focused, and I think rightly so. We've been focused on the pavilion. We've been focused on the football development center. But we have clearly talked about, along with the just redoing the Farrell Center to accommodate volleyball and A&T, and what do we do with Simpson with football? Baseball has been right there in terms of next big projects, and I think we have to create some excitement around the program. Obviously, we're gonna need to go out and raise money in order to do all of those things, but there's intentionality about doing all of that. And so, yes, I certainly foresee in the future us trying to do some things to enhance baseball facilities on a larger scale.
Mack, meetings going on.